Joey, for you, are leaders born or made?
Leaders are actually, in a sense, a destiny. You have to make that call to accept that challenge. What I am today may be through mentorship from my father. And how did Jocon become my father? You know, I mean, if you look at his pathway of really being involved in Pasay Citizens League for Good Government, was all his life was working in RFM but doing a lot of civic work. And then he got involved in ASEAN, then I said, wow, my dad is really kind of bored already, you know? So what's he doing?
Yeah.
Now look what I'm doing.
Exactly
the same thing. It's the same thing. So it's in a way, I mean, you look at all of these things and you realize, wow, then there must really be a plan. And it's how you really use that chance to help others. And you're giving those opportunities. And that's why I say there are bad leaders, but they were given that opportunity. And how they use that role to help others or to take advantage of others makes them a great leader or not.
So you can say that your father, Jocon, trained you or mentored you by example.
Correct. Definitely my father has a big role to my success. His example, unknowingly or knowingly, I just followed exactly the same. Namfrel was, it's better to light the candle than curse the darkness.
I remember that. I remember that line, yeah.
So in my case, you know, it's basically prosperity for all. And we launched Filipinas, angat lahat. Leave nobody behind. And Filipinos are not destined for poverty. But you have to do something about your life.
Yes, yes. Aside from your business acumen, because of you, RFM has grown as well, you are now also focused on another type of advocacy, but this is freedom from poverty through your Go Negosyo. Briefly, tell us the journey. I know it started years back during 2 previous administrations, but how did it start and how did it grow to where it is now?
If you look at our history, we've been basically called the sick man of Asia.
Yes.
We have the cycle of misery, you know. Now you do well and all of a sudden something goes wrong and we collapse. No? We have to break that chain. I have to give it to the previous administration. They were able to break it. I mean, I would criticize them where they're wrong, but in this case, by restoring good governance, by the Philippines becoming rated as an investment-grade country, I thought we will never see that in our lifetime. Imagine to be investment grade while the others are being downgraded today. So that is a huge accomplishment. You cannot just be that. You have to continue and grow. And this is where I felt that from my father's inspiration as really spurring democracy by giving the Filipino the courage. I relate this today. Okay, fine, we have democracy, maybe too much. Now, how do we now bring about real democracy? People are bondage with poverty. I mean, there's just so many poor people. So how do you help them move out from poverty? My promise to you is we are here for you to help. You all will succeed. It's not just giving them money. It doesn't work that way. It's having to be able to teach them on how to fish. No? That's important. So that's what we're doing. In the last 13, 14 years, mentorship, money and market has been basically our framework. Mentorship programs, being mentored, the money platforms that we're now pushing. You have traditional lending, but fine, traditional lending has its limits. Those who can afford are able to borrow. Those who are not able to really afford are not able to reach that. So they have to hinge to high interest rates, 5-6 lending, through digitization of these platforms through fintech. Now that will now reach the poorer people. So that is the platform on money that we're pushing. Inclusivity in lending. In the case of market, very clear. Grab and Uber initially showed this country that drivers today can have their own democracy. So digitization creates greater democracy. Because why? We, the big guys, we did well in our businesses. We create our brands to be so strong that it is hard for other brands to penetrate. But now with digitization, you can see the huge brands like Toys R Us and so many others out there being disrupted. And you can look at the new billionaires in this country. They're not coming from brick and mortar anymore.
Right.
They're basically digital or offline, new technology.
Yes.
Guys like Robbie Antonio,
Yeah.
first unicorn here. That is where the future is.
Yes.
And that's where we have to elevate these young people but the biggest opportunities are going to be on the digitalization. So that is where our trust is going to be. Using the 3 M's as a framework of helping entrepreneurs. Because as a young entrepreneur, when I was small, I was mentored well. I had the financing because at least my parents lent me some money. And then I had the market because access to market was. So you need all of those 3 M's. And so that's the formula of success.
Ready na ba tayong magnegosyo to?
This is an event that really inspires both sides, not just the mentee, but also the mentor.
In the mentorship, hopefully your parents taught you hard work, perseverance, optimism, passion. Those are basic. Without that, forget it, even if the brightest person who graduated from Harvard or Stanford. If you were to count the number of entrepreneurs who are very successful today, count how many of them come from the best schools in the States. They're all from the school of hard knocks, basically.
We shall achieve our aspiration for our country, including sustainable development and the good life that we always wish for the Filipinos.
Recently, you just had this huge event in Malacanang with no less than the President being the guest of honor. Could you tell us more about that?
What I have done basically is to form an alliance of all the country, the top business organizations, from the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the Filipino-Chinese, the Filipino-Indian, MAP, FINEX, etc., etc. About 30 organizations coming together, focusing on basically the 3 M's. Mentorship, providing us more mentors. These organizations have the best people, whether entrepreneurs or what I call intrapreneurs. People who think like entrepreneurs, but like yourself, work in a company. So that's the program. And so all these organizations have come together with the conglomerates. So
Yes.
the big guys out there, from Michael Tan, his father, and their role really is to joint venture with government on infrastructure. And you can see it already happening. So we want large companies to look at creating a more inclusive environment, which is what the President's vision is for this country. An inclusive economy, not just for the big boys, but for those at the bottom of the pyramid, the small guys. I chose this part-time job with government to be able to not totally be away from that duty as a parent. And I don't want to grow old and realize, well, okay, what happened to my kids? I
Yes.
forgot them. So that is the reason why I try to practice a balanced life.